If I were speaking to Obama, I think that I would have to say, where is your heart? Where is your integrity? Where is your humanity? Do you know what those words mean? Do you have any concept of what those words mean? You have used and abused and hurt all the people, including black people, and you continue to do so. You speak in your fancy language, using your fancy rhetoric, but you continue to hurt the people nationally and globally. Are you human? I would have to ask you, Barack Obama, are you human? Do you even know what being human means? It's important to understand, for those of you who have not seen the Obama Deception, the first particular film, please check it out. Let's understand that the Obama Deception is much, much deeper than being merely an Obama deception. In fact, what it is a continuation of the same old agenda, the same old disempowering, manipulating, and controlling agenda. Now, why was it important? Why was it important that Mr. Hope and Change, Mr. Barack Obama, now known as Drone Man in the year 2013, Obama, why was it important that the power elite push him to be top dog, as it were, you know, or maybe we should actually say top murderer. But anyway, why was it important? Well, it was important because they used this. Pigmentation. Oh, he's black. He's black. He's got to be okay. Excuse me? Think about that. This was used, this is how I often speak of how racism, I call it an introverted, or inverted rather, an inverted racism, where Obama knew full well that he was being installed by the powers that be, whether they be left, or whether they be right, or whether they be liberal, or whatever they want to call themselves. Obama knew full well that his job would be to continue the agenda for the power elite. To continue, and by the way, this power elite is both national and global. It's not just in the United States. In fact, it is a global power elite. It is an elite that I use the term a lot, blood sucks. They're blood suckers. You ever think about vampire? Every time I decide to kick back and watch an old movie from the 50s or 60s, and I watch Bela Lugosi come out and play the vampire, I can't help but think of this system. Because they're sucking the blood economically, politically, socially, culturally. They're sucking our blood in that sense. Obama serves as, at this point in time, the number one blood sucker, or at least in terms of his usefulness, and I put the word usefulness in quotation marks, because he certainly is not useful for everyday black, white, brown, red, and yellow people. He is the antithesis, if you will, the antithesis of the needs, wants, and desires of the people. So let's remember that that deception is a continuation of the deception that started eons ago. But Obama was the right person, in quotation marks, at the right time to continue to dupe the people. That's why you had Republicans coming out, oh yes, Obama. Democrats, oh yes, Obama. Hey folks, whenever you see that, you better stop and think. You better stop and think. Because both of them, Democrats and Republicans, their so-called leadership, and I call it their misleadership, feed from the same corporate, national, and global trough. So the Obama deception is a deception against all of the people, nationally and globally. And I want you to keep that in mind. It's important that we keep that in mind. It's a national and global deception. The wars, the perpetual wars that we have, the perpetual corporate hegemony, and all I mean by corporate hegemony is domination. Why is that? Did it happen by osmosis? No, it happened by design. This is going on by design. All right? We have to understand that. It's not that complicated. Actually, it's very simple. You know, they say that the best tricks are the old tricks, and the old tricks are the best tricks. You know why? Because they work. But the old tricks stop working once people wake up, because you can't fool all the people all the time. And more people are waking up to this deception. And it is a despicable deception. All of us have been deceived, regardless as to what ideology we may think we adhere to. We have all been deceived. We have allowed ourselves to be deceived. And this just goes on and on and on in a circle. It's cyclical. But what we have to do, break out of the box, break that cycle. We can do that. We've got to do that. You know, somebody once said that every generation needs a new revolution. No, that wasn't Malcolm X. That was Thomas Jefferson. And he was absolutely correct. It's important to understand that what we, and when I say we, I'm talking about we, everyday people of humanity, everyday ordinary people, are dealing with, is we're dealing with creatures, dare say I human creatures, who really lack, as in L-A-C-K, they lack the human qualities that all of us should have. In other words, no empathy. Empathy. I didn't say sympathy, I said empathy for humanity. It's important to understand that the national global elite is aware that ultimately by dumbing us down, by clamping down on the free flow of information, by propagating disinformation, that ultimately their blood-sucking and by killing Mother Earth will lead to their own annihilation. Then why do they do it? Because, my friends, they are avaricious. Again, it's sort of like a vampire who sucks the blood. It's like they have an insatiable appetite that can never, ever be filled. They are soulless, without soul. Without soul. And all of us should have somewhere deep in our own human being, deep in our being, as humans, we should have souls. But we're dealing with an elite, a national and global elite, who lack that. Instead, they are willing to destroy us all, if only for the pleasure, ever so short-lived, of greed, of trying to fulfill their insatiable greed, of taking over a world, even ultimately a world that if we allow them to do it, will ultimately be destroyed by them. So it's our obligation to recognize and to understand that literally, quite literally, everything is at stake. These folks, though they may smile, just as Obama smiles, he smiles. But when I look at his smile, I see only death. I see only drone missiles. I see only lies and deceit. But it's not just Obama. It's all that he represents. Perhaps one of the most insidious and sadistic things about the continuation of this agenda to control, to manipulate, to bloodsuck people all over the world, including in this nation, on the part of Barack Obama and his minions, is the fact that this is well thought out. This is done in a fashion where people have been so insidiously divided. For example, let me be very specific of what I mean by this. If George W. Bush had engaged in anywhere near the horrible atrocities he carried out, anywhere near those kinds of atrocities, and don't get me wrong, I'm certainly no supporter of George W. Bush, but let's be real, let's be honest. Had he done that, why, you would have had liberals and progressives and the so-called left. Oh, they would have been out there saying, no way, you can't commit these cold-blooded murders, you can't do this, you can't do this. And they would have been right, except for one thing. Now that Barack Obama has not only done that, but he's gone far, far, far past. He has surpassed what Bush ever did, which was bad enough. He has surpassed that. Where are they? Where are these folks who supposedly cared about humanity? Where are these folks who supposedly had principles? This is what, again, we see playing out, that fake, phony left-right paradigm. We see it playing out. And this is also why the Obama deception was and continues to be, up to a point, so insidious, so very, very sinister and insidious. So let's remember that we collectively, and I say collectively, all I mean is across the board, that we are the ones who can, we're the only ones, in fact, who can break through, who can dispense with that deception. The Obama deception, no more. No more Obama deceptions, whatever name they may give it. No matter. And it's not about Democrat or Republican. It's not about blood-sucking. It's about all the people. All the people. That's what this is about. No one's sitting here, I'm not sitting here and saying, oh, vote Republican. By no means, I'm not saying that. I'm not sitting here saying, well, vote for a better Democrat. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying vote with your feet. Vote with the people. Everyday people who look and act and care and think and feel just like you, of all colors, the colors of the rainbow, all of us. That's who we vote for and with. You know, I'm reminded of something that W.E.B. Du Bois said. He said, may God forgive us if we ever again vote Democrat or Republican. This was W.E.B. Du Bois. Look it up. Check it out for yourself. Understand that this agenda is still being carried out, and the agenda remains the same. And under Barack Obama, it has become even worse. But the beauty of it is that we also have a potential now that we may not have had before. And that potential is to wake all of us up. Get out of that paradigm. I'm right-wing, I'm left-wing, I'm a liberal. How about just being a person? How about just being a populace? How about just having principles? Stick to your principles. Be principled about this struggle for all of humanity. Be principled about that, please. That's what this is about. Obama is, in my words, probably the most dangerous weapon that this century has yet seen. You know, the South African activist, Steve Biko, said that the most powerful, most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. And Steve Biko was absolutely correct. Indeed, in that respect, in that sense, Obama is indeed a weapon. He is a weapon against everyday black, white, brown, and yellow people. Obama has demonstrated the ability, and I use that word in quotation marks, to distort everything. In other words, let me use an example.